What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Do you do? Guys, I want to give a shout out to you, of course. I want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who likes, everyone who shares, everyone who subscribes. And when you subscribe, you hit that notification bell and hit all. It's so very important. And I want to let you guys know, of course, I am on Twitter. You can catch me there. As always, the link to my Twitter page is in the description box. You need only click on that, and it will take you to this wondrous, beautiful land called Twitter, where everybody apparently loses their mind, and there I am. All right, so also, guys, in the description box, you can find a PayPal if you want to help me to grow the channel. I mean, you know, I would appreciate it. So anyway, like I said, guys, I have been working very hard lately, and I've been putting in like crazy hours. I don't get any days off apparently anymore. And, you know, when I get home, it's, you know, time for me to do the dad thing. So I haven't had a lot of time, but I want to talk about the latest episode of The Mandalorian. And this would be episode 5, The Gunslinger. Ooh. All right. And I don't know what that was, but The Gunslinger. And right off the top, man, who does that title actually refer to? The Gunslinger. Who's the gunslinger that they're talking about? I saw no evidence of this gunslinger in this episode. I saw a couple of bounty hunters. Well, one bounty hunter, one wannabe bounty hunter, and a mercenary, right? And Richard Simmons was there. So, anyway, so this episode begins excitingly enough. The Mandalorian is being chased through open space by what we're assuming is another bounty hunter who is on the trail of the creature that we know as Baby Yoda, right? So he's firing on the Mandalorian. He's like, give me the child, Mandalorian, and I might just let you live. Well, Mandalorian is like, oh, fuck you. You're going to have to take him off my dead body. So he's firing on the ship. The ship is taking heavy damage. And then he says, what is it? I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold. And I was like, hey, what is this? Is this like a cliche in the galaxy now? Is this something that everybody says? I thought that was a cool thing to say, but I don't like it that everybody can say it. And then, you know, the Mandalorian gets the drop on the other bounty hunter and he blows him up and he's like, that was my line. And I was like, okay, I can rock with that. I like that. I don't know why the guy was saying that, but I like the fact that the Mandalorian claims that as his own. In a way that was kind of breaking the fourth wall, though, I think, in a way. You know, so anyway, the ship is taking heavy damage, and the ship is going to go down to get some repairs. And where does it go to get those repairs? It goes down to Tatooine. You know, he's on his way down to Tatooine that we know so well, right? And Mos Eisley, you know, and, you know, hive of... you know, scum and villainy, you know, there he goes into that world. And it's very familiar. I mean, it was cool. It was very cool, you know, to see all of the familiar, you know, sites that we have come to associate with Tatooine. And when he gets down there, he runs into this mechanic and her 3 droids or whatever. And the mechanic, I'll just call the mechanic Richard Simmons, you know, so he goes down there and he hooks up with Richard Simmons, who says that, you know, she can fix his ship, you know, for him and everything, but he doesn't want the droids involved. We haven't gotten an explanation for why he doesn't like droids. I guess that's also something that's coming in future episodes or whatever. But he needs money, you know, so he's going to go into, you know, town or whatever, and he's going to see if there's any money-making opportunities. That's all well and good. What I had a problem with is that he leaves his ship wide open. You know what I mean? Now, he knows that everybody in the galaxy now is looking for him and looking for the creature known as Baby Yoda. Why he would do this, I don't know. It's like he didn't activate a force field, a club. You know, he didn't secure the vehicle at all, or the ship. He just left it wide open and just went off, you know, and left the creature known as Baby Yoda in there sleeping. It's wide open. It's so damn reckless. I cannot forgive this. I don't understand it. See, this is where lazy writing comes in, because the only thing I can think of, the only reason that I can think of why they would do this is it would give Richard Simmons an opportunity to stumble uponto the creature, aka Baby Yoda, right? And if that's what it was, why couldn't you have had the Mandalorian hand the creature over to Richard Simmons and say, hey, look out for the baby, the child. I'll be right back. I'll pay you extra. You know what I mean? It's like you didn't have to be like that, where Richard Simmons is like playing cards with the other three droids, and they just happen to hear the baby in there crying, and then they go in there and they get him. It's like, come on, man. It's like, yeah, you can do better than that. It just makes the Mandalorian look reckless, irresponsible, rookie-ish. You know what I mean? So anyway, the Mandalorian goes into the cantina there, and you got a character in there just chilling in there, kind of reminiscent of the way you saw a young Han Solo back in Episode 4. Now, this would be, I think his name is Toro. This kid is played by I think it's Jake Cannavale, whose father was in Ant-Man. I think it was Bobby Cannavale, I think his name is, right? I like that guy. He was in Ant-Man, he was in Boardwalk Empire. Turns out he has a son. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Joaquin Phoenix, but he's there, and he's saying, I'm a wannabe, you know what I'm saying? I'm a wannabe bounty hunter, and I got this bounty, right? But it's not part of the guild. I'm not part of the guild. I want to get into the guild. If I can bring this bounty in, maybe I can become, a real recognized bounty hunter in the guild. But I need your help, Mandalorian. You can help me do this, right? So the Mandalorian is like, well, the bounty that you're after, she's a dangerous mercenary, all right? And she might be a woman! But as it turns out, she's very dangerous. She's very skilled. She's a killer. So he's like, you're in over your head there, kid. And he's like, well, if you help me, I'll give you the bounty. I'll pay you. So the Mandalorian is like, okay, meet me back here. Bring me a couple of speeder bikes and we'll see what's up. All right. So, the kid, he brings the speeder bikes, and he gets a good look at the creature, aka Baby Yoda, for a reason, and then they go tearing off, and they leave the creature with Richard Simmons. All right, so there they go. Ugh! So they go out there, right, and it's pretty cool, man. It's like I really love the graphics on that, the imagery. Everything was really cool. It was on point. Them speeding across the sand like that, very exciting, and the Mandalorian looked really badass riding on the speeder bike with his cape like blowing in the wind and shit. So I was like, okay, thumbs up for that. All right, so they get out there. And they see one of those big woolly mammoth ass looking creatures, right? And they're walking and it's dragging along a dead bounty hunter. So the Mandalorian goes in to take a closer look. Lennox, the mercenary, starts like busting off shots, because she's like a sniper or something like that, right? So it's kind of like a trap. So she's like busting off shots at the Mandalorian, right? And the kid is kind of like covering for the Mandalorian. And they're like, well, she's got the high ground, so we're going to have to wait till later to take her and everything. And she's like, you're damn right. So later on, they throw some flares up in her face. They end up getting the drop on her. And now they got her, right? So in the melee, in the scuffle, one of the speeder bikes gets damaged irreparably, I assume. So especially out in the middle of the desert, they got no tools to fix it. So one of them has to go back and get one of those creatures so they can ride it back, right? So the kid says, well, it's fucking not going to be me. It's going to have to be you because I don't trust you, right? So the Mandalorian is like, okay, I'll do it. So once again, questionable judgment, but we'll get back to that later. The Mandalorian goes back. While the Mandalorian goes back, the Lennox character starts messing with Horshack's head, right? So she starts telling him, look, the Mandalorian is the one you should be wanting to bring in, all right? Because he betrayed the guild, and he's traveling with the child, and everybody out here is looking for him. If you could bring him back, they would put you on, you know what I'm saying? So now Gilligan is like, oh shit, you're right. I don't need you. Pow! You know what I mean? So he just shoots her. And I should point out right here, a woman has just gotten shot. For everybody who's keeping track of this, I don't believe that a woman has been shot point blank in the gut on The Mandalorian so far. This would be one of those milestones that feminists might want to look at and celebrate. Celebrate the fact that a woman can get shot as well as a man. This is something that I've always told my friends. You can shoot a woman as well as you shoot a man. And that's what happened. And this is something that, bravo, it's a very, very important day in women's rights history in Star Wars. The woman got shot, so she collapses to the ground. The kid is just like, fuck you, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the Mandalorian and I'm going to do what I got to do to get on with the guild. So he gets on the bike, takes off, the Mandalorian comes back, he's like, oh shit, what the fuck? And then he's like, okay, well, let me get back over here and see what's going on. So he goes back, to Richard Simmons' place where he parked the ship, sees that, what's his name? Gilligan is in there with Richard Simmons. He's got Richard Simmons like in a headlock, and he's got Baby Yoda, the creature. And, now the Mandalorian is like, well, damn, you got the drop on me because now, Horshack is like, well, I'm going to take you in. You're a traitor to the guild, man. And you got to go. And I'm going to be a legend. So somehow the Mandalorian manages to set off a flare and blinds him, gets the drop on him, and is able to take him out, and, so he's laid out and everything, and, I guess he's dead. I don't know. So, anyway, the Mandalorian is able to pay Richard Simmons, and the creature, Baby Yoda, is okay. The cuteness is on freaking blast in this episode. So everybody's picking him up and stuff. So it's time to go. So Richard Simmons is like, wow, okay, I'll take the money, bye. So the Mandalorian takes off, and then in the final scene, you just happen to see some mysterious figure walking up to where Lennox is still laid out after being shot. Now, some people say that she's still alive, the mercenary. I don't see how she's still alive. She's been laid out there now for clearly like a day at least, right? And I don't know. So anyway, this mysterious, or what we're led to believe is a mysterious figure, comes and kind of kneels down next to her, and then it just cuts out. Some people are saying that they think it might be Boba Fett. I just don't see how this is possible. I think that the Mandalorian just circled back and went and picked her up. I don't know. I mean, there's a bounty on her head. It didn't say whether she was supposed to be brought in dead or alive, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'll have to watch it again. But why not? Why not collect the body? That's what I think it was. I think he just circled back around and picked her up and just blasted off. And that was that. All right. So, guys, I feel like it was a pretty decent episode. I mean, it didn't offend me. It could have been better, and everything. But my thing is, I really do feel like The Mandalorian goes down a lot easier if you just see it as being episodic. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to have an arc that goes over every episode. It's like I was watching Star Trek, the original series, the 5-year mission, last night. And I was thinking how most of those episodes were self-contained. It didn't mean it was filler. It was just self-contained, where one episode dealt with this particular issue and concept, and then the next episode dealt with another one. The only thing is, with The Mandalorian, if you're going to do it that way, and I think, a couple of videos ago, I said that if they did it like the Lone Ranger or the Rifleman, if they're going for an Old West feel, that would be the way to do it. You just make it episodic. But if you're going to do it that way, you have to be a little bit more conceptual, Like, you would have had to explain why the Turo character would have wanted to be a bounty hunter in the first place. Like, what was driving him? You know what I mean? And it would have helped if you have given him some last words where he realized that wasn't the life that he wanted or something. You know what I mean? And then that would give the Mandalorian something to think about. This kid used to be me or something like that. Make it a little bit more conceptual. Put a little bit more depth into it if it's just going to be episodic. Like what I'm starting to think that it is. And then it would give the show a little bit more substance. I believe that you have enough time to do this. But the way that it is presented, it leaves people thinking that it's just a filler. They want it to just get to the point. But if there is no point, if it's just about one episode to the next, then they have to bring a little bit more substance to their characters, I feel. All right, so now we've reached the point in the video where I talk about what I would do if I were the Mandalorian. All right, so it's pretty easy in this episode. I think that I would have rocked with the kid, all right? I would have said, okay, Horseshack, I'll take your money, and I'll take you out there, and I'll help you get this bounty. Now, when they got out there, and they got the drop on Lennox, what I would have done, now that I realize where she is, all right, once we took her down, with the flares and all that stuff, and she's in handcuffs, what would I have done? Your usefulness is just about done, mofo. I would shoot him, and he would be down, and that would be the end of that. I would be like, so long, Gilligan, you know what I mean? I don't need you anymore. I can get anybody to go collect my bounty for me, and that's what I'm going to do. And that would be it. No muss, no fuss, easy squeezy, lemon peasy, so I would just leave him out there. I would go back. I would, find some sucker. I'm sure there's plenty of them there, at, Mos Eisley over there, a bunch of crackheads walking around. Anybody can go get the bounty, pay me, I give them, maybe one of the Tusken Raiders, I would give them some binoculars. They give me the money. That would be it. We would fly off to the next episode, So that would be it. Pretty easy, So anyway, guys, let me know if you saw it, what you thought of The Mandalorian episode 5. I want to say it's episode 5. How come I keep wanting to say episode 6? But it was episode 5. So you can let me know in the comment section what you thought of it. And as always, you can like, you can share, and you can subscribe. And you can catch me on Twitter like I said before. All right, guys, that's it for now. I'll catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on!